The days are thankfully getting longer, but early spring weather is still pretty unreliable. Thankfully, I've got my personal routine set up, rain or shine. I like to start my day by drinking my AG1.
Yeah, I was actually, I think the last person from the team to get on board, but like I'm constantly running around doing my different shows and caring for the kids and whatever. So the AG1, it's perfect. I get my drink, I get healthy. We're going.
Yeah. AG1 is a powdered mixture of 75 vitamins, minerals, botanicals, bacterial cultures, and nutrients from real whole foods. High-quality ingredients with high bioavailability, which means all that good stuff is easily absorbed by your body.
And so right now we've got a promotion exclusively for the listeners. athleticgreens.com/Spaetkauf. You'll get a monthly membership with all of the following.
AG1 in a convenient travel format. With your membership, you will receive 5 AG1 travel packs for free, a free year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, which for us in Berlin is very important because vitamin D contributes to the maintenance of normal bones, normal teeth, and helps maintain normal muscle and immune systems. Did you know that a total of 82% of men and 91% of women do not meet the recommended daily intake of vitamin D? And this is where D3 and K2 can be a useful supplement, especially for our sunless city.
Yeah, so our listeners will get a year's supply of vitamin D3 and K2 drops, along with the travel rations packed in little sachets and the starter kit with the tin and the bottle. And that subscription, you get it all delivered for a flat charge. You can pause or cancel your deliveries at any point. Try it for 3 months, totally risk-free with their 90-day money-back guarantee. And no questions asked if you decide it doesn't work for you.
Radio Spaetkauf. Berlin news in English.
It's Sunday, March 26th, 2023. This is Radio Spaetkauf, Berlin's news podcast, recording live at Noisy Room. Happy first day of spring, according to the clocks. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Matilde Keizer.
I'm Anne-Marie Harrison, and I'd like to introduce our special guest host today from 20% Berlin, Drew Portnoy.
Hi. Hey.
Hi, Drew. For those not already in the know, what is 20% Berlin?
20% Berlin is a newsletter for the 20% of Berlin that does not have a German passport. And the default language these days is basically English. So we summarize the news twice a week and send out a newsletter and tell people what's going on in Berlin. Because actually in comedy, I met so many people who had no idea what was happening in Berlin in the news. I thought, as a journalist, which is what I used to be, I wanted to let people know what was happening. And I'm reading the newspaper anyway, so...
So you're just being a good friend to 20% of Berlin.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And we add context, and then we also add humor, if you want to call it that, satire. Basically, like the rest of the other 20%, we hate the Germans. That's what it is. So, which is weird because we all love Berlin, which they created.
Yeah. I do hear that it is closer to 25% now. Are you going to rename it, or?
But the problem is that the domain has been registered for 2 years.
So you're just like, no more immigration, but just because the domain was bought.
Yeah, because as soon as that's up for renewal, then I can go up to the 22%.
Okay.
Well, no, we just have to increase naturalization.
Oh,
right, to get it back down to 20%.
There you go.
Like roughly, yeah, if 1 in 5 people who don't have citizenship were granted it,
then we would be back down to 20%.
Yeah, and I think I think that's something we can all agree on across the political spectrum, right?
By a clap of hands, who is not eligible to vote in Germany? Every single person.
Yeah, can we let the record show that was the entire room?
No, we have one legal voter, but I also feel like at some point people started clapping because they're like, I don't want to be the only enfranchised person in this room.
On stage, also 50% can't vote, right?
Yeah.
Anna-Marie and Drew, you both can.
Oh, I
I can vote.
Yeah.
I can't.
just did today.
I don't have...
You don't?
You're welcome.
No.
Wow.
Well, because I want both, and they won't give me both.
I have both. Sorry.
Where are you registered in America?
Oregon.
That doesn't count. Are you voting? You're voting in Portland?
Yeah.
That's literally no point in doing that.
I do the same for California, if it makes you feel better. Yeah.
But you vote in 2 countries?
I do. I vote in California.
Well, that's
as
now I'm against that.
Listen.
Well, I vote in none.
So I'm making up for you not voting in
you go
one.
vote in Italy. Good luck.
No, no
Have
thanks.
fun. All right, let's get to this podcast.
Wait, hold on one second.
The script does just say banter, which I think we fulfilled very well.
Dan was supposed to recommend my newsletter, actually.
Yes. Dan, would you be so kind to recommend Drew's newsletter?
I feel like the Venn diagram of Radio Spaetkauf listeners and 20% Berlin subscribers is like the overlap's got to be pretty high already.
It's just a circle. It's
Like-
just a big circle.
I will say this: it is probably the only newsletter I do open that comes into my mailbox that I open on a regular basis. Not every time; that would be crazy. I open my own one just to make sure I didn't accidentally
You
send the
have a
wrong draft.
newsletter?
It doesn't come out much. It's also, and honestly, the number of people my click percentage on that is like 2%. The last time I did get 2 replies to my last newsletter. One was from my dad saying "nice job," and another one was from an old friend asking letting me know that they were happy to find out that I was not dead. So no, it was more like, oh, I would been wondering what you're up to, but the implied was like, oh my god, I can't believe you're still alive.
I have to be honest and say yours is one of the few newsletters I open. As well. That's true.
You didn't
That's
have to
actually
say
true.
that.
But it's true. It's actually true.
Wow, I must
beautiful moment.
register.
Yeah. You'll be one of 5 people. It's great.
No. There's like 500 people. Just
Oh, okay.
none of them open it.
Ah.
It's hurtful.
Dan, what is it called? Maybe you can get another 500.
Yeah.
Oh, sterndaniel.com. I'll tell you one thing I know about Radio Spaetkauf listeners. They don't care about coming out to see me do comedy. It's very weird. They're like, no, we've heard him enough.
Maybe they care about coming out to see me do comedy.
Oh, I could put that in my newsletter? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Sure. Hey, guys, if you're a fan of Matilde Keizer, go to sterndaniel.com. Subscribe to my newsletter, and maybe we can get you to a show. Should I hit a thing? All right, that felt like a segue.
Oh, no.
Do the coming up.
Guys, Joel will be back in May, I promise.
Yeah.
I know there was I think a couple episodes where we really kept it together.
Yeah, but
now I
on
just
film,
text
yeah.
him every day, and he's like, "It's warmer here, buddy."
Coming up, Drew will share some of his expert news knowledge, and we talk to the new editor-in-chief of ExBerliner, Jonny Tiernan, about the future of the magazine.
And a quick shout out to our usual co-host, Izzy Choksy, who is currently at home recovering from the birth of her brand new baby. Now let's take a look at some headlines.
We're missing our resident British host today to reveal the exciting news that, everyone, brace yourself, King Charles III is coming to Berlin this upcoming Wednesday. Fans can wait in front of the Brandenburger Tor to see the heir of the Sachsen-Coburg and Gotha line. If you know, you know. And then return home. Yeah, he's coming back. He's coming here.
He's coming home.
He's coming home. Bottles for a toast to the king may not be brought into the event area, though. While here, Charles will be bringing Camilla to see an organic farm. Should I take that again? While here, Charles will be bringing Camilla to see an organic farm, meet Ukrainian refugees, and enjoy a state banquet.
Do you work in press for the royal family?
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm sorry, I just can't stop laughing. He's like, here's the farm, here are the Ukrainian refugees.
And here's a state banquet.
I mean, it is always a thing when family visits when you're like, what do we take them to do in Berlin?
Yeah,
it's
true.
like, I mean, none of the things I do on a regular basis. It's like,
But it's actually the organic farm that everybody takes their kids to.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Do you
boy.
know
Has
this?
Erdbeerhof?
No. Karl's Erdbeerhof is not organic.
I know.
when you walk by those stands and the strawberry smell is it's clearly like a perfume, right? Then they paint them red. It's nothing natural about those.
No, they're actually pretty good.
I know they taste good,
They're
but
dope.
so do Skittles.
Also painted red.
Hey, I didn't know he's the third Charles. I didn't know that.
I thought he was going to be with the 800th.
Oh, I had no idea.
Don't ask me. He'll also be the first British monarch to give a speech to the Bundestag. So, yeah, I wonder if I can get him to sign a copy of Spare.
I don't get that joke.
Have you not heard of Harry's book? You didn't see all the images?
right, no.
Prince
okay.
Harry wrote a book.
That was one of
where-
those things I
royalist
flushed
deep
right out
cuts
the other
in the
year once it
script.
came
Well,
in
but
one.
he spoke in depth about his penis, which is why
Yeah.
everyone talks about it.
His
Man,
own?
I'm learning all the good stuff here. I had no idea. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go.
Drew, you and all your journalism, we can talk about Prince Harry's penis.
Yeah.
We're recording on a Sunday when many Berliners might be recovering from their nights before, not just Saturday, all of them. Don't forget, it's always good to keep hydrated in such circumstances, although who knows how your pee might be used. Using wastewater... When is Joel back?
Am I the only one who sees the guy in Berghain right now? Or is it just me? Picture that guy right in front of me. All right.
No.
Okay, let me get to the actual news, Dan. We don't know how our pee gets used. Using wastewater, a recent study by the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction showed that Berliners' cocaine use is up 58% since 2018. Whoa! Crystal meth consumption has also gone up 70%, and other amphetamines like speed are up by almost 30%. Most drugs are illegal in the country studied, so surveys are obviously unreliable, hence why they study the wastewater. It's not like there haven't been reasons enough to want to escape reality over the past years, but weirdly, the use of MDMA has gone down 20%.
I love that the drugs are being gentrified. You know, it's
I know.
It's like, wow, Berlin can afford cocaine now?
Right?
Yeah, weird.
But
I thought
also,
so too.
it's like you're just more awake and less happy. So...
Yeah?
Well, I guess because they are not taking MDMA, but taking a lot of speed.
I feel like you haven't done much cocaine.
No.
To be fair, I haven't either, but...
I haven't today, but...
Hey, Drew, do these statistics reflect your drug use at all? I mean,
Yeah, Drew, where do you stand on crystal meth?
Since I left LA, I have not done crystal in 20 years. Yeah. Did I just... I've never done crystal.
You need to understand, this audience was very receptive and was open to talk about your history of drug use, and now you've just cheated us out of it.
Sorry.
We wanted to support you on your path.
Drew, what's next in the news?
Unions Verdi and EVG, which is a railway employee union, called what is being called a mega strike for Monday. That's tomorrow, but you probably listen to this on Friday.
Or Tuesday.
It will halt most rail traffic and close every German airport but BER, and even potentially close some autobahns. Yeah, they're forcing some people who work in tunnels to strike, and so if the tunnels are not working, then... I mean, I thought tunnels were passive, but I don't know how that works. Deutsche Bahn has canceled all trains, long distance, regional, and local, Monday, and the S-Bahn in Berlin will also be hit because it's run by Deutsche Bahn. You can tell because it doesn't work very well. BVG isn't part of the strike, and they said I loved it. They said they'll put every train they have on the rails on Monday to help.
So they're holding back most of the time? Yeah. I love that. They're like, oh, yeah, next train in 10 minutes. Could have been 5, but fuck you guys.
I think it was like my grandfather in the basement playing with his train layout. You know, like, I'm going to put all the trains on the tracks now. I've had 2 whiskeys. Let's go.
Right. He's got the little thing that makes him run backwards, you know?
Yeah. So what they're looking for, Verdi wants 10.5% pay increase they represent apparently 2.5 million public employees. So they want either 10.5% or 500 euros a month. And this EVG railway employee union also wants, it's kind of a similar thing. But the problem is they have to deal with about 20 different employers.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good part to say don't complain about strikes. Respect people who are striking.
I mean, complain about everything. I mean, but just not to their faces.
Yeah, we can complain.
Because if you're not if we as the users of these things don't get upset that they're not working, then the strike isn't really effective, is it?
Yes, but you can't get mad at people who are choosing to strike.
Yes, but does what I said make sense?
Yes.
Like we should all be out there like, I wanted to take that train, that tunnel today. And then...
But these people should get more money, and
Right.
that's why, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we just cut out the middleman and pay them directly.
I was thinking about going down to the Hauptbahnhof tomorrow and being like super surprised that there's a strike and mad that I can't get where I'm going just so I can get on TV.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That's good, yeah.
Do you think that will get people to your shows?
But I will say, please go see Matilde Keizer's comedy show.
Yeah. Matilde,
I've outsourced my marketing to 2 men because I was like, can I get some middle-aged American white men to push my shows?
So Drew and who else? By the way, you guys should check out Matilda's one-woman show titled Please Subscribe to Drew Portnoy's TikTok channel.
Yeah.
I have nothing to plug here. No comedy. Okay, get this. I don't know if anyone in this room or listening knew this, but until the 16th of March this year, men who have sex with men were not allowed to donate blood in Germany. The Bundestag recently passed an amendment to the Transfusion Act, making it now explicit that sexual orientation cannot be a factor for exclusion on donating blood. Until now, queer men were not allowed to donate unless they stated that they had not had sex with a new partner or multiple partners in the previous 4 months. An archaic and invasive question left over from the height of the AIDS crisis. So yeah, it only took 40 years to add this amendment, which has also nixed the age limit on donating. And that's hopefully going to help the massive, massive shortage in the blood reserve that Germany has right now.
Yeah.
So
what's nice about this is heterosexual people cannot have multiple partners. It's so just homophobic. It's like the only people who sleep with more than one person are the queers. Heterosexual people are just in there hiding their genitals.
I thought you were stating your opinion that heterosexuals shouldn't do that, and that I misunderstood you there.
Wait, they should.
You were in character when you said that.
Of myself.
3 years ago this month, the whole world went on lockdown due to the coronavirus outbreak. Follow any major news network, and you're bound to see at least one Corona retrospective this month, harkening back to these days of toilet paper shortages and distance walks. It's you know what?
Is that an adjective, really?
No, I don't.
it is tonight. Okay.
Walks. It's a walk where you're not near the other person you're with. The length of it indeterminate. As of December last year, there were still 512 proceedings in Berlin against Corona test center operators on the grounds of billing fraud. One 47-year-old received almost 10 million euros from these fraudulent billings and is now being sentenced to prison time, with Berlin prosecutors requesting a 10-year prison sentence. The verdict will be announced this week. And I hope he gets a lot less than 10 years, because it's just money, guys. You should have come up with a more complicated form for him to have to fill out.
I feel like I'm so mad that I missed this boat.
Which boat? The test
fraud
center boat?
Dude, the guys on bikes next to the Landwehrkanal.
Yeah.
Like, what?
There were people giving tests on bikes next to the...
Yeah.
What?
They were like little mobile. You don't remember that?
You don't
Billing like
remember?
120.
It does feel like a decade ago.
It
But
does.
yeah.
But
They were
don't
not like
you
big
remember
bikes.
that the crappy bars that were places where you didn't want to go to
Yeah.
before Corona now suddenly were places you went to get someone to stick something into
Right.
an
the
orifice,
casinos
right? It was
and
like I went to
yeah.
some sketchy test centers, really wouldn't have spent an evening there.
Remember when you got hepatitis here
Yeah,
6
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago? Now find out if you've
Right.
got Corona.
No Corona, but hey, everything else, you're sick.
Please don't donate blood for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. They check every test center you went to during the lockdown, and it's like, sleep with whoever you want, but if you got tested at that one bar on Oranienstraße, please don't come close to us.
I don't know, but at the same time, there were like the ones which were like, oh, I remember this Thai restaurant, and then you kind of get to had the fantasy that you were going out to eat, and just instead of the stuff going in your mouth, it went in your nose. No?
What?
I got tested in Prenzlauer Berg once. That's, yeah.
We had this super luxury one in Prenzlauer Berg. It was nice with lights that it was green and you went in and turned red. It was kind of like Squid Game, really, but
Yeah, I had a luxury one by Moritzplatz. It was really beautiful. It felt like, it was actually not beautiful, but it felt like going into a startup office. It had all these plants, and there was techno playing the whole time, and you stood in line, and all the people who worked there were dressed in black and young and better than you, and they're like, do you already have your QR card?
There were a lot of young people doing the testing.
Yeah, it was a job.
no, the luxury one in Prenzlauer Berg was all my kids' friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
so all my kids' friends have seen the inside of my nose.
wow, intimate.
Yeah,
See, that's
sounded a lot-
actually
Yeah.
why I liked it, because it was kind of intimate, you know? I got
That was
to
your
get-
form of intimacy?
Yeah. I don't get out much.
You know,
Just getting close to people.
Okay.
Please, stick
I think for listeners at home, they should just know that the guy whose kids' friends saw the inside of his nose is where he's got a mustache, a mullet, and what can only be described as 70s era silver serial killer sunglasses on. So, just to complete the picture, if you're wondering why we all drew a swift intake of breath there.
The freezers are very small in Germany. You can't.
okay. In some more transportation news, Germany has basically killed a proposed EU law to ban combustion engines beginning in 2035 for no other reason than they love cars, or maybe they just hate the environment. They even ginned. Yeah, I know. They even ginned up this stuff called e-fuels, which are synthetic fuels that could work in traditional engines but still create CO2 emissions. But they could theoretically be climate neutral by binding the same CO2 during the production phase than they do when they're burnt. But, it's a huge but, they require a lot of energy to be made and are way less efficient than electric cars. It was just a dumb attempt to save an archaic technology. Germans and cars, man.
I tried to get an e-fuel expert on here to tell me what the fuck e-fuel is.
Yeah.
And it turned out there was basically two categories of people. One who are like, it's the fuel of the future. Put this in your Mercedes-Benz and everything's going to be great. And we put an E in front of fuel, so it's good. It's the only thing better than that would be an I.
Fuel.
Yeah, and and then the rest of Twitter, which was like, no, this is bullshit. But yeah, apparently it's while somehow based not in oil, is still consumes like much higher amount of energy and is totally not a useful thing and a way of tanking what was an EU-wide decision based upon the FDP's shenanigans.
But Dan, how are German men supposed to feel free if they can't switch gears on their cars?
Truly.
Dan, you're taking away German men's freedom.
I don't know. I mean, if you say so. I don't know enough about cars to tell you what. I think you can switch gears in anything, right?
It's funny.
No,
I think you were going to say I don't know enough about German men.
Yeah, but a lot of
expert.
people who don't want to have an electric car say that they don't want that because it doesn't feel like driving.
Oh, well, that's what the cocaine is for. We have plenty of cocaine and meth, guys. You can just get into your, your Toyota Prius and just do a line, and you will, I'm flying. There's no speed limit on the Autobahn, and there is no speed limit in the amount you want to do in your car. A limit to the amount of speed you want to do. You can put that joke together yourself. I think part of the other issue is
Dancer DIY jokes.
it's like I'm like the IKEA of humor.
Yes.
It's just all flat pack.
Go to his shows. You get a bunch of parts of a joke, and then you go home, put them together, and have a laugh.
Yeah. That's more true than it should be. I mean, part of the thing is that when you make an electric car, you make a battery, and then you hook it up to some wheels. And the German automotive industry is made up of all these companies that make all these different little parts. So, when you stop making these combustion engines, you shut down the need for all these little parts. And so that's why they're like, no, we'll keep using all the little parts, just make some magic juice to pour on them. That I think is, again, guys, anything I say on this podcast, you got to go Google it. But it's I think that's basically
It's totally true. The problem is what the Germans are being stupid about is that the market is going to solve it. The market's not going to want combustion engines, period. Total, a gigantic oil company is already selling their gas stations because they see that the sales are already going down. So it's like Germany's clinging onto this technology. They're going to be, they're going to be out there selling sailboats while everybody's on speedboats. It's like,
You don't say. Germany likes to cling to stuff.
yeah, change. The only thing Germans are more afraid of than drafts are change.
Oh my God. And I know that we're moving slowly through the news today, but I took a cab yesterday. I know, but I'm pretty sure it was electric. And the driver wouldn't let me roll down the window because he said it would create a draft on the back of his neck. Has anyone ever experienced this?
Yes,
the kind of
I
draft
wasn't
you
allowed to. As a kid, I wasn't allowed to open windows. in the
Okay,
car.
I was like, because it was a thing where I was like, I might not give this guy a tip. Like, I'm hot, I'm uncomfortable, but at the same time, am I being culturally insensitive?
No, there's a belief you get that thing. What's it called? Where half of your face goes lame? Something palsy?
Yeah.
Balls palsy?
balls palsy.
My old
Did-
boss got that. Yeah.
You get it from drafts. That's what they think.
In Italy,
but
we
specifically
call
on
it
the back of your
yeah.
neck.
In Italy, we call it a hit of air, un colpo d'aria. And if you have a hit of air, like
Well, if he'd said it like that, if he'd been
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
no, prego, no, poco, what is it?
Say it again.
colpo d'aria.
Colpo, I'd be like, oh, of course, yes. I would feel sophisticated. He should have said it in Italian. I would have felt so smart. But he even had the plastic like Corona sheet up, so I'm not sure what. He also yelled at me. Anyway, the point is, what else is going on in the news?
Anyone do anything fun for the Women's Day holiday a couple of weeks ago? Well, I hope the men celebrated by giving women they know some money, because a recent study found that the gender pay gap in Germany still screws women over, who earn about 18% less than men.
Just an update.
It's a bit of an improvement.
From
From?
worse to a little bit less worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool,
We've made up a couple percent there, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're doing fine because it's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
What are you complaining about?
Heard that a lot
Yeah.
about a lot of things.
Well, I do my part by earning way less than my wife.
True ally.
All right. Well, here's some news for those seeking a more even
Wait,
tan.
No,
Wait.
nope, Dan.
Let the woman speak, Dan. Jesus, I'm being silenced here.
I don't
You
normally
saw
get
it.
lines in this script.
I
It's
know.
freaking
I'm
me
sorry.
out.
I'm sorry. It's true. Okay. Anyway, some better news for people in Berlin with nipples. They're officially freed. Yay. After a woman filed a complaint with the State Office for Equal Treatment for not being allowed to swim topless in a Berlin public pool last summer, the pools are changing the rules. From now on, no person will have to cover their chest in Berlin pools, a spokesperson for the Bäderbetriebe told RBB. I don't know. I'm excited about this. Anyone?
Are you actually going to go to an indoor pool and swim topless?
I'll probably never go to an indoor pool in this city, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I think I was like, really? It's not allowed? That's a big surprise. I thought it was just allowed, but then
No, I saw a lot of. I was at the Sommerbad Neukölln last year, and there was a woman sunbathing topless, and quite a few people went to the security men at the pool and asked them to go talk to her, and they went to her and forced her to put her top back on.
Jesus.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I only swim at Prinsenbad, where nipples are free.
Oh,
are they?
as is pee.
Yeah, no, and the enforcement rules were also very strange because part of what they were doing is they were saying that you have to wear a commercially produced bathing suit
Yes.
as a way of sort of skirting around what is or isn't allowed in terms of toplessness. So they would say, oh, well, yes, you could be topless, but your bottom is not then officially a commercial baby. It's only half a bathing suit or something along those lines. So they found a way to sort of enforce those things, much like when they decide they want to enforce a rule about what people can wear, like full when women are wearing too much clothes at the swim halls. That also becomes an issue with security coming over to say, oh no, like because you have what are they called, burkinis or
burkini,
wthe but then so there's been some room given there, but then for certain head coverings they'll say, well, no, that's the wrong material, you can't, they'll find a way to enforce rules where none need to exist. And
I think the rules need to be on men my age and older, actually. That's who needs clothing rules in swimming pools.
yes,
Right?
Yes, free the nipple, hide the testicles.
I just surfing shorts 2 sizes too large. That's the requirement.
In further swimming news, Berliners might want to keep in mind that 2.15 million baby glass eels have recently been released into local waterways, which is apparently a good thing, according to the Berlin Senate, as they're an endangered species who can now continue their fresh to saltwater migration. And don't worry, they won't be fully grown at a weight of up to 2 kilos for another 12 years. If you really want to get creeped out, go Google and image search these and just see a handful of little tiny, slimy, clear baby eels. Like, baby eel could be cute. It's not. No. Then again, if you're going to be swimming in Berlin waterways, you may have already made a mistake.
True. Least of your worries at that point. But, Drew, since we at Radio Spaetkauf weren't able to scrape an episode together in February and you're here with veritable news knowledge, is there anything you can tell us about the current political situation post-election?
So we had the re-election, as I called it, in February, and we could have gotten the red-red-green government again, but now we're actually going to get the coalition that Franziska Giffey wants, not the one we want, because actually the majority was more for the red-red-green. She actually she's our mayor, and she actually wanted to form a coalition last time with the conservative CDU and the business-friendly FDP, but the FDP guy had too many demands, because the FDP dudes, they always have a bigger ego than constituency. So, so she was just like, well, never mind, we'll go over to the red-red-green. But now she and the CDU are buddying up, and so we're going to probably get a coalition in Berlin with the CDU and the SPD, and the CDU will be the senior partner, which is the first time since the 90s that the conservatives have been the people, the big wigs in Berlin. So, and actually, if you read the news, the CDR are actually sort of moving more left than you would have thought. They're actually being sort of fair. I don't trust them either. I'm just saying that right now. These are early days. I'm kind of surprised what they're doing, but they can still change. And the CDU is a super white guy party. I mean, it's Germany, so every party is a white guy party, but they're like the white guy party in suits. And we know this because every
Drew
time...
is an official spokesman for white guys.
Yeah, they are my people. I don't approve a lot of things they're doing, but they're super white guy. Like every time there's a big problem, like a riot or something in Berlin, like New Year's Eve, the CDU wants to know the first names of the perpetrators because they think that will prove who they are. Because they always think that their names are going to be Khalid or Ahmed rather than Helmut and Heribert. But all that matters is their passports, really, but they never ask about that.
Is Heribert a common name? I feel like I've never heard this name.
It's far too common.
Really?
I've worked in
Heribert?
offices with Heriberts.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. I mean,
Sounds
not
wonderful.
everybody's parents love them, you know?
Jesus.
True.
Drew's just a guest host, by the way, too.
Sure, but it is on the list of allowed names in Germany, Heribert.
Yeah, but the dope thing is if you're a foreigner and you name your kid, you can name whatever you want.
Is it true?
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't.
No, it's totally true. I went in there, they were like, because my son has a weird name because we're dumb. And so at first she was like, oh, you can't name your kid. And she's like, oh, you're an American. Well, you can name him whatever you'd like.
Ah.
She didn't say a foreigner. She said an American.
Uh-huh.
That's probably a good point.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite, like, horrible things I think I talked about this last episode, but there's this list that they put out in the tabloids of like the most unique names in Berlin as a way of shaming people who either are creative and or foreign or don't want to name their kid Jenny. No, Jenny's a great name. Fuck, you know what? Anyway. The point is, I feel like the CDU on some level. This is just a big thing. Like, I think that what they learned from Angela is that like if they keep their rhetoric racist but their policies more to the left, that they can kind of like keep their constituency in place. And like, you know, I feel like enough of them realize that they don't actually need to have like horrible right-wing policies because, you know, most of the people who are voting that way aren't going to read or whatever. So as long as they just say some racist stuff sometimes, that they can still like let in, you know.
I guess that's comforting.
That's my theory. That's what I cling to
Oh,
as we
so-
form this new government.
Yeah, I think it's weird. It's like, I mean, that's how Angela stayed in power for so long, was she stole all the SPD policies,
Right.
but then she still wouldn't approve gay marriage. So, yeah, I think it was a very astute.
What do you think, from your journalistic opinion, this means for Berlin?
I mean, that's the weird thing. Like, what can they actually do? Because the problem is nothing works in Berlin, but nobody seems to be able to change it. So that's the question is, can they actually change it? I think what you'll probably see is the cops will be even worse. Like if you're a left-wing protester, the cops will now have license to kind of come and beat you up. They're already talking about building apartments on Tempelhofer Feld, which it's kind of a 50-50 situation. But the fact that they're already talking about it like it's a reality. He said the guy who might be mayor, Kai Wegner, said he wants another referendum and let people vote on whether to build these apartments on Tempelhofer Feld. But I think
Because they take referendums so seriously?
Yeah, it's
or-
just-
I mean, yeah, you say that, but also like it was under our previous coalition that we like built the cop shop in Coty. So I'm not sure that it's really like, I mean, if the green light wasn't already there for police to just like build clubhouses wherever they want, you know, I don't know what the difference is now. Like they won't apologize for it. I mean, like it's the I mean, cops aren't good anywhere. They're not going to get better here under like because the Greens are in charge.
Speaking of cops, I got woken up this morning by the Frankfurt SWAT team, 5 a.m.
What?
This is real breaking news.
I feel like we buried the lead on your the kids looking up your nose.
Yeah, they cops right. No, I had a gig in Frankfurt last night, and I went to bed in my hotel. And at 5 a.m, I heard somebody in the hallway pounding on doors saying, "This is the police." And then they had a big discussion with somebody about why they didn't open the door. And I thought, I am near the train station in Frankfurt, which is like almost as sketchy as the train station in Hamburg. And I thought, this might not even be the real cops. And I thought, if they bang on my door, I'm going to call 110 and ask if this is really the cops. And about the second I thought that, there were suddenly 2 cops standing at the foot of my bed with like machine guns, these big ballistic shields and helmets and stuff. And I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? And then
what did you say on stage that night?
Yeah, I was just like...
Yeah, truly.
And they said, why is your door unlocked? And I was like... My door isn't unlocked. And they're like, why is your door unlocked? And then he said, drop the cover so we can see your hands.
What?
Yeah.
What? Were you in the nude?
I wasn't. I was sleeping in my underwear, which is weird for me, actually. But, and seriously, the image you guys have right now of me in my underwear, that's better than the actual image of me in my underwear. Because I had actually stood up at that point. He's like, drop the covers. So I dropped the covers. And then they kept saying, why is your door unlocked? And then I thought, holy shit, they're going to take me down to the station in my underwear because my door was unlocked. And I'm like, my door wasn't unlocked. And they're like, your door's unlocked. And then like the head guy came around the corner. He's like, come out in the hallway, stand against the wall. So I just stood against the wall. And then they kept saying, your door's unlocked. And then they all just kind of disappeared. And the head guy goes, Gute Nacht, schlaf gut. And then I found out, my door was actually unlocked. My door did not work in my hotel room. It had been unlocked the whole time. I didn't know that.
Was it a key card thing?
Yeah.
So they generally lock automatically when you walk in anyway.
Yeah,
Right?
but it apparently wasn't. And then I found out because I went down to the reception. I'm like, dude, what is going on? He's like, yeah, you don't have the key to lock your door. I was like, why don't I have the key to lock my door? He's like, the woman forgot yesterday when you checked in.
You've been set up.
But you don't know why they were there. They clearly weren't there because you're not like the.
They were checking which doors were unlocked.
Yeah, they're like, oh boy, there's this one hotel by the.
They are there to protect you.
Yeah.
Right. They were protecting you. Do you feel protected?
It didn't occur to me till I was in the train later. I'm like, dude, that's how people accidentally get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But it turned out the hotel had been robbed. They were searching the hotel to try to find the guy who robbed the hotel.
And they figured he'd be staying in an unlocked room next door.
Yeah.
Well, no, then
Asleep.
it actually makes sense. If your door's not locked, then you probably are not a guest in the hotel.
Jesus.
I had 4 hours in the train to think about this.
Okay.
And then I cried in my wife's arm for an hour. So.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't really. But
is there? I mean, that was a fascinating story about Frankfurt and your life. Is there anything else Berlin-wise we've missed that you want to tell us about?
Well, they're going to be checking all the hotel room doors in Berlin from this point. No, I just think it's going to get more conservative. I think there's going to be like real estate companies aren't going to be as evil, aren't going to be considered as evil in the public as they have been.
Right.
And the cops. And unfortunately, the one thing that we really don't need is the A100 highway will be extended up through Prenzlauer Berg. Probably.
I mean, I think what me and Matilda really took away from this is who books the gig in Frankfurt?
Who booked the hotel? Me. Okay. Comedy Flash books the hotel in Frankfurt. If I'm going to insult everybody, I might as well just insult everybody. Let's go. It was a good show. Thanks for asking.
Radio Spaetkauf.
Oh, the coup judge. I love this woman. Birgit Malsack-Winkemann. I like her because she's super Berlin. Like, I like that aspect of her. Like, she does whatever she likes. The problem is that she's a judge, but she's kooky in the wrong direction. She got famous in December. There was this raid on a bunch of right-wing nationalists who wanted to overthrow the government and reinstate a Kaiser, and she happened to be one of those people, and so they arrested her. And she's a sitting judge. And before she was a judge, she was actually a parliamentarian for the right-wing AfD, and she's been made open racist statements. And the thing is, she's such an awful person, they're keeping her in jail. They arrested her in December. She's still in jail. Yeah, that's how bad of a person she is. Can I get sued for that? Anyway, so she's still in jail. So then somebody said, well, if she's in jail, she can't really be judge, right? So then they said, that's true. So they cut her salary in half. They kicked her off the bench, and they cut her salary in half.
Oh,
Yeah.
in half. The poor woman.
Poor little baby.
which means she still makes more than 7/8 of Berlin. Yeah, it's crazy. And if you look at a picture,
But
of her,
18 now,
18%.
68% less than the average male judge.
if you look at a picture, she does look like one of those people that's about to fall apart. Like if you bumped into her too hard, she'd just fall into pieces on the floor.
Just like you.
Jesus.
Oh.
Or
It's had
me.
a hard morning, man.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Seriously. What do you work for the Frankfurt police? Here? What's-
All right.
ExBerliner is the biggest English language publication in Berlin and has seen various phases through its 21 years. Jonny Tiernan has recently taken over as the magazine's new editor-in-chief and finished up the preparation for the newest issue. Here to tell us about the changes to the magazine, please welcome Jonny Tiernan to Radio Spaetkauf. Thank you for being here, Jonny. What kinds of changes to the magazine can readers expect?
Well, actually, things are going to remain largely the same in terms of content. I kind of just restructured it a bit. So now the magazine's broken down into 4 different sections. The front end's like a life and style section. So we've always done food content, rundowns of like what the best things to do in Berlin are, short escapes if you want to get out of Berlin. So we grouped a lot of content together in the front end. Then we have a section called Signs of the Times, which is all of our more like serious stuff. We have our long-running column with Konrad Werner, the politics column, a history section called Under the Cobblestones. And what I'm really pleased about in this issue, we have an interview with Pansy, who has been a previous guest on this show. She is now the co-program director for a series called Tingle Tangle at Theater des Westens. Yeah, and then we have a feature section. So instead of before, if you've maybe read the magazine before, we used to do this one theme for all of the content and all the feature content. So now instead of doing like all the features around one theme, we have a cover theme story and then we have different features instead of that. So yeah, we have a really cool feature with the photographer Mario Heller. He went to Barentsburg, which is like 2,800 kilometers above Norway in the middle of nowhere. It's this really tiny settlement where 380 people live. And he went there for a photo project. It's made up of Ukrainians that work in a coal mine and then also Russians that work in a small tourism industry. And he went and did this really amazing photo series from there. So yeah, we have this and then we have a few more features. And then we have our big culture section where we cover like music, art, film. So yeah, now the magazine's just structured in those 4 sections and we've made some changes to the way the features are. But it's largely the same ExBerliner everybody already knows and loves.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. How did you come on as a new editor-in-chief? And tell us a little bit more about what you were doing before.
Yeah, they asked me to. I think that's how I ended up doing this. Yeah, but my background is, before this, I mean, I suppose let's go back to the start. I started my first magazine in Northern Ireland when I was 23 by accident. It was a music and culture magazine that ended up being distributed through the UK and Ireland. It won Magazine of the Year in its first year. I don't mean that to boast, but it was quite good. Yeah, that was called Alternative Ulster, and I ran that for 9 years.
Wait, Magazine of the Year of Ulster or
of Ireland?
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Whole country.
Yeah, so I mean, it was distributed across UK and Ireland. It became like it was a bit of a it was successful, I would say. And then that finished in 2012, and then I moved to Germany in 2014 and said I would never do it.
You've been talking too much, Jonny. You're cut off.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
I didn't get a chance to thank my mom and dad, Dan.
Jesus.
It was going so well, I was going to do like a little Instagram.
That's right. I don't even remember what I was saying now.
So you're talking about how successful your first magazine was?
Yeah, I was boasting about my first magazine. Sorry.
After you moved to Germany,
I
you
said
said you would never, and then Dan played a jingle.
Yeah, I said I would never start another magazine again. I'm not doing this again. That's insane. I mean, I don't know if anybody's done it, but running a monthly magazine, like, it's kind of just a slice of madness. It's amazing. I love doing it. But I said I wouldn't do it again. And then in one of my best friends, he was a designer on my first magazine, and he'd moved to Berlin before me, and we were talking about how there was no good free English language magazine in Berlin. And I was like, yeah, there isn't. And then he said, you should start one. And I said, no, that's a really stupid idea. Why would I do that? And then in 2016, I did that. So I started an English language magazine called Lola, which was a cultural magazine about Berlin. So I did that. And and then from doing those two things, then they approached me to take over as editor-in-chief of ExBerliner.
Does Lola still exist?
Yeah, so the print magazine for Lola is on hold, and we had already pivoted last year to doing this thing called the Lola Club, where we curate events and activities in Berlin, and then when you join up as a member, you get better rates for these events and activities. So for like certain art shows or gigs or any kind of cool events that we've curated. So we're still doing that for Lola, but not doing the print magazine, because it's a slight conflict of interest with what I currently do.
Just a bit.
Yeah, it was funny. ExBerliner, when I landed here, it was you had that and you had Toy Town, which I don't know if anyone's been in Berlin to remember, like going on Toy Town to like figure out how to do things. We should bring that back. Is there any plans for you to revamp the Toy Town Germany Berlin section?
Toy Town belongs to the local, actually.
Oh, is it? Yeah, okay.
All right, and we are back to another episode of Expat Berlin Journalism Gossiping.
Suddenly I feel like doing Crystal again. I don't know.
Giving flashbacks.
Is there anything in particular that you're very excited for the next issue of ExBerliner that's coming out?
I mean, I suppose the cover story in particular, which I think you guys are very well aware of, seeing as you wrote the cover story.
Us?
What?
Yeah.
No.
What?
Surprise.
So the cover story for this issue is called "It's Berlin Needs Help," and it's basically looking at why it's so difficult to find therapy in Berlin and how you can get around those problems. Which, if anybody who's listeners to Radio Spaetkauf maybe knows the spin-off podcast Get Help, where Jöran and the team went through this and looked at this in depth of the problem of finding therapy from a more personal perspective. Yep. So then the new cover story, it looks at the reasons behind that, and also has some really interesting and well done guides on how you can get therapy in Berlin. I mean, if you don't know about it, basically there's a limited number of therapists that are allowed to give public therapy under the public insurance system in Berlin. And it's a very limited number. So if you go to your doctor and say, hey, I'd like to get a therapist, they say, okay, cool, here's a reference. And then you go to try and find a therapist in the public system and you can't find one because the numbers are limited. And the numbers are limited artificially. There's no reason for them to be limited in this way. So the magazine takes a deep look at why it is like that and what the politics and the reasons behind that are. And then says, okay, this is the way it is, but here is this way that you can get around that. We also have a really nice, a resources guide. So if people are in moments of crisis and whatever background you're from, you're able to, it gives you all the helplines and all of the information that you need.
And while we're at it, we can do a little sideways plug here and listen to Get Help Berlin. The second episode will be coming very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Soon.
And the cover story was written by also Jöran, who isn't on this episode today, but so the team behind the podcast are the team who wrote the story. So,
and if you're wondering if we asked Jonny here for shameless cross promotion, you are correct. That is exactly what we're doing.
And also because Jonny is a very interesting person.
That's also true.
Dan, stop staring at the guest like that.
But
I heard he once ran one of the most successful magazines in Ireland.
Oh my!
It was the best. That doesn't mean most successful. I think it's like a lifetime achievement thing. Maybe.
Poor Jonny has been thrown into the midst of this unhinged episode with the metastasized Dan Stearns and poor Anna Marie trying to keep us together.
Does ExBerliner's distribution strategy of landing in the sort of tabletops of bars and cafes around Neukölln remain the same, or is it you guys changing the way people are going to be reading and finding it?
No, it'll still remain the same. I mean, if people are looking for it, the easiest way, it's available in lots of newsagents and kiosks, but it's also available in all bio companies. So it's kind of an easy way for people to find it. I mean, I normally shop in Lidl and Rewe. So if that's what you normally do, but you want to get ExBerliner, just nip into bio company.
That's a good reason to go to bio.
Yeah. There's also a website called mykiosk.com. And at MyKiosk or mykiosk.de, either way, MyKiosk something. And they have the entire distribution list of where you can find ExBerliner at all those locations. So if you go there and you're like, okay, where is it? And then you can find it.
Is there anything you are excited about or looking forward to for the future of ExBerliner?
I'm going to be honest, right? For me, it's kind of a dream job for multiple reasons. Jobs like this, in journalism are fewer and further between than you probably could imagine right now. And I grew up running a magazine like from I was 23. It's just what I grew up doing, and it's what I love doing. And the idea that there is a job doing this again. Also, like, I started my own print English language magazine about culture in Berlin. So the idea that now I'm doing this for a title that's been around for 21 years. Also, when I first came to Berlin in like 2011 or 2012, I picked up ExBerliner and read it. It's what everybody does when they first arrive here. So for me then to be in this position, it is kind of like, not to be too cheesy and cliche, but it is kind of like a dream come true. And it is kind of amazing that this exists at all. And I just feel really excited and privileged to be able to be in this position and to be able to do this because, yeah, these things like this don't happen so often. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, it was the first place that I like saw my name in print as like a performer in, I don't know, 2011 or 12. Hasn't done a lot of coverage on me since then, but I mean, who knows? Maybe.
So Johnny, so Dan, Drew, and I were thinking, you've got this whole section about arts. Drew's got a
Should we start making art so we could get in there?
Yeah. Drew's got this great story about being in Frankfurt.
But I do think like it is when everybody, it is good for newcomers to Berlin to have this source of information, but it's also good for people who've been here for a long time. There's always new stuff happening. There's always new things going on. So whether you're like a newcomer or an old timer, I think it's good.
Dan has a different lineup of comedians every Tuesday, for example, at Two Fellas Brewery.
Oh, are you one of them?
What's that?
Only once.
Yeah, no. I mean, we don't.
Anyways,
keep it fresh.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
This is very exciting.
Yeah,
I
we look
think a
forward
lot
to
of
seeing
people
that. When
are
does that
excited.
issue drop?
Thursday, actually.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So if you're hearing this the day after tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
Johnny, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again soon with some more news. We get all our news from 20%. We just talk it out loud, and now you can type it up and put it in the newspaper. It'll be a perfect ecosystem.
And then we'll read the newspaper out lound so we don't have to write a script anymore.
Right, having forgotten what we did
Having
the previous
forgotten
episode.
What we did. Yeah, win-win.
That's a workflow.
Thank you so much. Huge round of applause for Johnny or a jingle.
First of all, to everyone who donates, subscribes, shows up in person, tickets here are free, but many of you choose to pay for them nonetheless, which is very sweet. We do rely very much on the donations that we get from everyone, so please keep in mind that that's wonderful. We had a microphone break this week, and so I just need a new microphone. If you don't want to, if you don't want to donate, just get that. Just mail that over to me. That would be super. But things like our equipment and travel expenses, and actually having some time to do the research and everything, is what that money goes to pay for, along with hosting and other little annoying expenses like that. All right, so the district of Treptow-Köpenick has announced plans to clear several illegally erected trailer parks. The term is, I'm using that a little bit loosely, as the traditional trailer parks don't really exist in Germany the way they do in the U.S. But essentially, these were commercial real estate spaces where someone put in a little bit of infrastructure and allowed people to pay him rent to live in containers and mobile vehicles. This gentleman is named Ulrich Ziegler, and he was last in Berlin news in 2014 after breaking out of the Moabit prison where he was serving time for fraud.
Full circle.
Yeah, in the coverage of this story, his quotes tend to paint him as a bit of a Robin Hood character, although local authorities paint him as more of a slumlord. The lots are haphazardly arranged and forbidden as a place for people to live, as they are not zoned for residents. The local authorities also see a lack of protection from fire, and in a recent statement noted that a plague of rats and inadequate sanitary facilities have led them to conclude that there is a danger to the life and limb of the residents. These containers and caravans are nonetheless the only homes which these Berliners have found, and our city's lack of housing is no news to anyone, regular listeners, of course. But we often focus on, and by we I mean Radio Spaetkauf, on the sort of the challenges of people who are in the housing market, and on petitions that were circulating by, politically active middle class. But there are also people on further from the fringes of, I would like another room than I have right now. And I'm going to sign that thing. But there are people who are really lacking homes. So there's residents there. One was a teacher working in Prenzlauer Berg, quoted by Focus, saying he now lives in a container, 20 square meters for 500 euros warm. And people who got jobs that were priced for Berlin of 10 years ago, that's what they were set up to be able to afford. The people there include formerly homeless refugees, retirees in need of daily care, as well as people living outside the law, who some of their neighbors described as occasionally violent or drug addicted or drug selling. But that's all just quotes that they put out there. According to Immowelt, the average rent in Berlin jumped 27% from November to last year to this March. And the trailer park is within view of luxury condos being put up by Bonova, where a 71 square meter 2-room apartment costs 525,000 euros. So the Lichtenberg district office have been aware of the unregistered housing since 2017 and eventually ruled it an illegal campsite. Despite that, the numbers of people living there have only increased in that time. There's currently reported 150 or 160 people there. There are similar areas in Spindlersfeld and Karlshorst, and there are vehicles being lived in neighborhoods all over Berlin, on my street, in the pathway near the floating university where we've recorded. It's something that we see here, and I feel like you see this is one of these little kind of shock. You can see photos of these trailers huddled together or whatever in the papers, and it seems sort of shocking. And I feel like part of this is just my gut, is that the use of mobile homes being unheard of in Germany is part of that, like not here kind of thing. And again, I'm not saying people should live in shadily operated lots full of unplumbed houses with no way for a fire engine to get in there. At the same time, it is sort of this image that doesn't fit for aspects of the German or Berlin government. So many of the residents there are having the rent paid by social programs, often directly to their shady landlord. Shady in quotes for legal purposes, I suppose. And by directly I mean through various companies or whatever. These are fringe things. So the way you get the job center to pay your rent is directly to a place works somehow. Lichtenberg, the job center, is now refusing to cover the costs for new tenants there since 2022. Despite that, people are still moving in there. Bonova, wanting a nicer, view or the vista there, reportedly made an offer to purchase the space for 1 million euros, and there was a claim that another company offered 1.5 million euro. For whatever reason, they've decided not to sell. But there is an issue, in my opinion, in the city of commercially zoned places being empty. At the same time, we have residential. Now, is this the solution? No. But there are endless supply and an endless effort to build more commercial real estate all over this city. And for more startups, it's like that ping pong table could be a fucking bed. And this is just, for some reason, we have an endless desire to our office space, a thing which I see absolutely no value in. You can just work from home, as far as I'm concerned. Once everyone has a home, then people can stop working from home, and you can go back to whatever it is you're pretending your company does so that you can get investment money instead of actually doing something.
Tell us how you really feel, Dan.
I don't know why I'm so worked up about that. It's probably about something in my personal life, really. According to district spokeswoman Sabrina Kermse, all residents will be offered, quote, alternative accommodation and, quote, further support before being evicted. No residents.
Nice of them.
Yeah. No residents in the various reporting on this have received any of these offers, but according to the authorities, that will only happen shortly before they are forcibly removed. It seems sort of insane to me that this is how they're going about it with when we've got corporate landlords offering 1 to 1.5 million just to improve it. I feel like we can take that money from them and put it into providing adequate housing for people that is safe and where the conditions are right. At the same time, it seems to be that the landlords of any kind are always the winner in this city, whether we want to take back our public housing from these giant companies or deal with someone who's building weird slums. The people who need housing are not the winners ever. It's always these landlords, in this case, by living completely outside the law or within it. Either way, it's not getting anyone a place to sleep. You know what I mean, guys? Jesus.
Could you do patent law now?
Don't look at me.
You brought the room down, bro. You got to bring it back up, man.
Today's show was hosted by Noisy Rooms. We're not going to bring the room anywhere. We're just going to end it. Today's show is hosted by Noisy Rooms. Thank you again so much to our guest, Jonny Tiernan. Thank you to our guest host, Drew Portnoy.
Drew, anything you want to plug in particular?
I thought that I should have. I don't have any shows at the moment, so no.
20% Berlin.
20% Berlin, of course. Everybody read 20% Berlin. 20%.Berlin. Get there now before we upgrade it to 21%. No, 20% Berlin. Yeah, thanks. It's free also, I should say. It's free.
Yes, thank you also to our team, Sebastian Filip, Jöran Mandik, Izzy Choksey, Anna Marie Harrison, Dan Stern, myself, Matilde Keizer.
And the king, Joel Dullroy, radio speaker, Spaetkauf emeritus.
Please,
a word I sort of know what it means.
Joel, please come back. We know you're having a nice time, but it's not going well without you.
We're devolving.
We need someone to control us. No, thank you all so much. And thank you so much to you, our audience today. Give yourselves a round of applause.
What's that?
Thing to plug?
Yeah, they already got my newsletter.
Okay, yeah, no, fair enough.
Yes, you'll find every information about me on Dan Stern's newsletter, sterndaniel.com.
Right? I will plug some things. Well, that's actually great. So every Saturday, you guys were like, we got to leave. No, you don't. The door's locked. Podfest Berlin has a new partner, and that's Selina Hotel in Mitte. They had a little recording studio that they put in their lobby, so we're doing live podcast recordings there every single Saturday. We had Megan's MegaCan on this weekend. Stop by or check it out on our website to see what's coming up. They're all fun podcasts. You can come and learn something new. Maybe you see some of the ones you're listening to. Maybe Radio Spaetkauf will be there someday. I don't know. But every Saturday from 3 to 5, we are doing live podcasting there. It's free, and it is, oh, wow. It's entertaining, and you know what's the best part about it? At some point, it ends. Not like this show, which I'm just going to keep dragging out.
Well,
I think we actually
if
missed.
we're plugging, I'll plug a little bit. I always
by the
forget
time
to
this
plug.
is over, we'll have results of the election today.
That's
we can
right.
announce.
Yeah, hold out, people.
I'll plug a little bit. If you are not sick and tired of hearing my voice after this podcast, you can listen to my other podcasts in German. Woo, she speaks German. Matilde und Georg produzieren Unterhaltung. Yes, the title's long. Or Schamlos. Or follow me on Instagram to come watch me on stage.
All right, one more time. Give yourselves a round of applause. Let's clap for everything. Yay. Just life in general.